than swift.
Bring on the Super Fours then of the Asia Cup 2023 as Pakistan return to Lahore and are all set to play against Bangladesh in what will be their final home game of this co-hosted tournament, and stakes are higher now. These two teams met last in an ODI in the 2019 World Cup. There's another one coming up. Pakistan enjoy a great record overall against Bangladesh, but never discount Bangladesh, especially if they play like they did against Afghanistan in their last group game. We build up to that one on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by JBL. Wasim Jaffer is still with me as we try and recover from probably the game of the tournament last night, Wasim, at this very ground at Lahore, and now we're ready for the Super Fours where you feel the stakes will be higher. Maybe we'll see more close games.
We will, yeah. I mean, the competition will be a lot better. I think after this game, the tournament's going to be in Colombo. But yeah, I mean, it was a thriller yesterday. Very unfortunate for Afghanistan to miss out on, that calculation and whatever that was. But yeah, looking forward to this game. I think this is going to be tough Super Fours, and we're going to see some really exciting encounters.
Yeah. I wonder if you got a glimpse of the Afghanistan team on their way out, Urooj, with a lot of people still taking printouts of how net run rate works. I think now everyone knows how net run rate works now.
I think every other sport will also now know how net run rates work. That's how crazy. I mean, bizarre, and I guess the players, in fact, will be so disappointed because they rely on this information to be sent to them in an ever-changing or ever-evolving game, right? So, and I think, I mean, Afghanistan, was clearly going to win it had they known, or at least they had those 4 extra deliveries to try to make it happen. So I'm really, I'm sure very, very disappointing. But like you guys said, probably so far the game of the tournament. What a cracker.
Yeah, absolutely. And we expect that now. You could sense that perhaps the Asia Cup is not really taken off, but for what was a very compelling India-Pakistan first innings. But since the rains played spoiled sport, and we've then seen some easy wins for other teams. Last night is where we can say the tournament has come alive. Let's hope it continues with Pakistan and Bangladesh. And let's set that game up a little bit. Bangladesh without Najmul Hussain Shanto. I think that's the big story from a Bangladesh point of view. He was the in-form batter, Wasim. And are you as concerned because Mehdi's at least got some runs, or how big a miss is Shanto?
Very big miss. I think he was in form and playing well. If he had been there and with Litton coming back into the squad and in the 11, that would have made a very strong Bangladesh 11. So they'll miss it, but the good thing is Litton Das is back.
Yeah.
So he might replace him straight away. But yeah, Shanto was a big miss. Man in form, got runs in both the games and looked really assuring the way he batted. So they're going to miss him for sure.
And I guess they'll need their very best batters, Urooj, to put their hand up against the pace attack Pakistan have. Litton Das returns, poses somewhat of a question to them on whether he opens straight up or takes Shanto's role at number 3, but just Shanto's loss for Bangladesh and Litton returning, does that even things out, or do Bangladesh still miss a key player?
I mean, I think it's probably the best equation Bangladesh could have hoped for, that if Shanto's gone out, clearly by far the highest scorer in both games, and then obviously the one who's instrumental along with Mehdi to get them over the line in their last game. But Litton, I think, probably slots in. I know Litton's numbers up top are quite obviously in comparison to the rest of the positions that he can bat, 3, 4, 5 are much better. But I don't think between 1, 2, 3 there'll be too much off. So I think he'd slot in right where Shanto was without disturbing the opening pair. At least I don't think they should disturb what Mehdi Hassan did in that previous game. So I think they'll probably stick and it'll be a straight swap for Litton for Shanto.
Yeah, we will come to Litton Das's numbers as we just look at how his ODI career is gone. Bulk of it at the top of the order, as Urooj Mumtaz says, that's where he's got most of his runs. There's a decent number 5 record that might have just been up and down here and there or in the top of his career, but I think it's fair to say Litton's best work is done right up top. Between 1, 2, 3, not a big difference. Still, if you have to choose between Litton, Naeem and Shanto and Miraz, how would you go about it?
I won't disturb the opening pair. I'll still keep Mohammad Naeem and Mehdi Hassan Miraz and just bring Litton at number 3. It's not a big difference. And obviously he hasn't played for a while. So it'll give him a little bit of time to have a look at the bowling. Not that he's not seen, but just give him a little bit of time. And number 3, so like-for-like swap, I would say.
Yeah, Pakistan have already confirmed their 11 actually ahead of this game. I'm loving this. I want to see if it carries on in the World Cup, which is a question I'll check with Urooj if we know the Pakistan 11 a day before the India-Pakistan game and whatnot. But Fahim Ashraf is going to get his first look in this tournament for Mohammad Nawaz. If you could make sense of that, Urooj?
Yeah, it makes sense because the Lahore surface is so placid, nothing in it whatsoever. I mean, it's almost like probably one of the flattest roads in Pakistan, if you may say. So I don't think it makes any sense. And it's also because, I mean, we've discussed this at length. Pakistan do miss a frontline quality spinner. Nawaz was short in his game the other day. You can't really drop Shadab because he's that all-rounder who bats and a gun fielder as well. So I think it just makes sense given the conditions. Also, I think come the World Cup, Pakistan do need a fourth quick bowling all-rounder. And we've spoken about this before as well. We do miss somebody at the quality of, say, a Mitch Marsh or a Hardik Pandya, Marcus Stoinis. So the deliberation is probably between Wasim Jr., who I think is a better bowler, but Fahim Ashraf provides a little bit of quality with the bat. So I think they're giving him this game, and then probably he also confirms the 15 spot in the World Cup squad for him.
Yeah, we've seen a bit of Fahim Ashraf, and Pakistan are hoping he plays the role for their team that Hardik Pandya plays for theirs. So we'll get a nice look at him. And Urooj's point on the surface and conditions in Lahore comes into perspective. Just look at pace v spin, and we're also coming at the back of a game that we've seen 300 can be effectively chased in 37, 38 overs, in 37.4 overs also Afghanistan, if you would have tried. But for now, pace v spin, we see that the numbers stack up in favor of the quicker bowlers, average of 37, and an economy where you're going to go for runs, but if you can get wickets, and the strike rate is key there as well, 36 the strike rate as against 46, and the average to less runs conceded by pacers than by spinners, Wasim. So I guess if we do see more, this is the last game in Lahore, but we're going to see a lot more cricket hopefully in Pakistan next few years. This is the way to go. Perhaps this is the way to go in India too, where there'll be more pace than spin necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, if the surface is like that, where you're not going to get much help from the finger spinners the other way, and if you don't have any wrist spinners, then pace is the other option. And Pakistan, for that matter, the only missing piece in this team, from the great team of the 90s or the early 2000s was that bowling or batting all-rounder, somebody like Azhar Mahmood or Abdur Razzaq. So investing in Fahim Ashraf is not a bad call. I've seen him. He looks a decent player who can bowl at close to 140s and can bat lower down the order. So if he comes good, that solves a lot of problem for Pakistan. And if the surface is like that, like I said, Shadab is definitely going to play. But yeah, fourth seamer can give you something with the bat and ball, then yeah, that's a good call.
So what is the missing piece for Fahim Ashraf, Urooj? What is it that Pakistan want him to scale up to make him an automatic selection, like we've got Hardik Pandya or Mitchell Marsh or even a Ben Stokes? What's missing for Fahim Ashraf right now?
I think it's more to do with his batting ability in terms of getting Pakistan to finish games, because obviously, irrespective of what's done in the top and the middle, most often than not, it comes down to your 7-8 to finish 9, maybe batter number 9 to finish the game for you. I think that batting ability or prowess in the end to finish a game with the tail, that becomes slightly more tricky. And again, looking across the board, we don't have another option in that sort of frame where somebody can bat better than Fahim Ashraf. So I think he will be the person to go to. The other thing is that he gets the ball to nip in at that decent pace Wasim's talking about. So I think he's very effective with the ball. In Lahore, the square is quite big, so the ball does rough up and it gets to reverse. Lightning quick outfield because it's very dry, so the runs will flow. But I think that's where Fahim Ashraf can become important with, especially the middle over phase where Pakistan do struggle.
All right, fair enough. And he's going to have a job to do with the ball in the first innings itself. Toss is just taken place at the Gaddafi Stadium and Bangladesh will bat first. Wasim, quick reaction to that. I was wondering if after watching yesterday's game, chasing may not be such a bad option. If you can really chase 300 in 37, 38 overs, Bangladesh have decided to bat. Thoughts?
Well, they won batting first. They did well in the game against Afghanistan, so they want to back and do the same thing, look to post a big score, and then the fast bowlers actually bowled really well in that evening, and they're backing what they did well. So no surprises there. But yeah, I mean, it's a good ground to chase as well. The bowlers find it really hard in the second half when the dew comes in, not much help for the bowlers, and Bangladesh doesn't have any wrist spinner. So it can get tricky, but the big job is to get, big runs on the board.
They wouldn't mind this, Urooj, Pakistan chasing even after losing the toss?
Not at all, especially not in Pakistan, not in the conditions, not in Lahore. And like Wasim just alluded to, Bangladesh spin quality, probably one of the best going around. And with the dew, if it does come in, that'll be slightly more tricky to grip the ball. Pakistan, they love to chase. And we've seen in the recent past, even in the PSL, exorbitantly crazy scores being chased down, plus 200, 220 scores being chased down in 20 overs. And then again, the kind of batters that Pakistan are, at least the top four, they like to play deep. They take the game long. So anything, even if it's a big 300 plus score, Pakistan probably fancy this one.
Yeah. You could think it's not a bad result for Pakistan. Shakib just doesn't want to field under the sun in Lahore. It's hot. He's already said it before, I think, at the toss. The only reason I don't want to chase is because it's too hot. So yeah, okay, we leave it there. Shakib Al Hasan is going to lead this Bangladesh side that has Liton Das returning, which we can confirm. Now team sheet has him slotted at 3. So we'll just see if that is indeed where he comes out. We'll get the answer to that anyway in the next 15-20 minutes or so once the openers walk out. No other changes. I'm guessing, Wasim, that Tawhid Hridoy will stay at 5 now, as we've seen there, and not be experimented with at the top of the order.
That's the only experiment that didn't work the other day. But yeah, I like him at number 5. He's a busy player, and you want him to come, around that 25, 30 overs, because he can play spin well, and then he can, play a finisher's role as well. So yeah, I like him at 5.
I'm just looking at that team. It's a good team. I wonder if Tamim Iqbal, when he returns, probably takes Naeem's spot now, because I don't mind Mehdi Hasan Miraz at the top of the order. I shouldn't get carried away with 100 as him opening. But the idea of Mehdi opening, suddenly you have so many options and whatnot. Is that possibly a way they can go?
They look a good unit, yeah. If Tamim comes back for the World Cup, and if everything works for them, they've got a decent bowling attack, fast bowling attack, and quality spinners, all-rounders. So they can be a force if they play to their potential.
Yeah, I don't know if the rest of the cricketing world, Urooj, gets behind Bangladesh like Bangladesh would like the rest of the cricketing world to get behind Bangladesh. They're a very proud nation. They don't like being little brothers to either India or Pakistan. And you look at that team and it's impressive, and yet they started off in fashion that you just think, oh, this is the same old Bangladesh story. Whether they turn up or not, we have no idea. Looking at that team with possibly Tamim to return, maybe Ibadat Hussain if he gets fit as well in a World Cup in the subcontinent, they can be a force, can't they?
Oh yeah, for sure. And Pakistan would probably like to see the last 5 games. I mean, we've only won one out of the last 5 encounters with them, albeit 2019 and prior. So it's been a while since we've played them. But that team on paper that you just showed and you alluded to, that one day they'll show up and like you're saying, they're like, all right, fine, it's just Bangladesh. And the next day they show up, rack up a score in commanding fashion and clean up the opposition. And they've got quality spin. And I like their pace unit as well. Let's not forget Shanto to slot back in for the World Cup if he's fit. So that's a formidable looking side. And they do like playing in Asian conditions. I think it's one team that does sort of flourish. I think just consistency for them. Winning needs to turn into a habit. And those match winners need to show up more consistently, and you never know with them.
Yeah, absolutely. We've spoken actually in a way of a lot of other players other than Shakib and Mushfiq. So they still do with the bat, you think. Shanto's been good, Mehdi Hasan Miraz, excellent. Just having a quick look at Mushfiqur Rahim and Shakib Al Hasan and their batting numbers too. If we just see how Shakib goes against Pakistan, that will be something. That's perhaps the reason that Urooj Mumtaz brings up those numbers, why they do well against Pakistan in recent times. Overall, it's significantly historically in favor of Pakistan. But yes, 4 out of the last 5 won by Bangladesh. Shakib averages 42.5 against Bangladesh, strike rate of 85, and he's got 450s and 100 in 15 innings. So Shakib doesn't mind the high quality bowling that Pakistan tend to produce. Wasim, this is key today.
Yeah, that's very good numbers. 42.5. In just 15 games, he's got 5 scores of 50 and 100. And on top of that, he's going to play on a very good batting wicket. So he'll enjoy that. He likes challenges. He's the very important member in that middle order. And Bangladesh needs him to fire now. It's a business end of the tournament. And Mushfiq and Shakib needs to come to the party.
Yeah, Mushfiq's the other way around though. Doesn't quite enjoy as good a record against Pakistan, but he's having a good 2023. He's not quite seen the best of Mushfiqur Rahim in this Asia Cup. But as we just look at the year he's having, he's averaging nearly 48, and these are his numbers in Pakistan. Stand corrected. So not quite making use of this road that you so highly rate, Urooj, and the good batting conditions in Pakistan, Mushfiqur Rahim. Can you make sense of those numbers?
I mean, the numbers to the left in 2023, I mean, he's only done himself well. Again, with Pakistan, obviously scattered numbers given the length of time that they last played Pakistan. But if anybody wants to have a good outing with the bat, trust me, it is these surfaces. Unless it's a different surface, which might do a little bit, I really don't think so. But I think it's a time. And he's been probably, along with Shakib, one of the most experienced campaigners, has done Bangladesh great in terms of getting them over the line in crunch situations. So I think Bangladesh will heavily rely on him and Shakib in that middle order to play out that period of the game where Shadab and now probably Fahim will bowl. But I still feel it'll be the power play for Bangladesh up against the quality of Pakistan pace attack that will set the game up.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about the Pakistan team too. The 11 was announced, but just confirm that for you as well. We know Fahim Ashraf is in as the extra seam bowling all-rounder in place of Mohammad Nawaz in a team that otherwise is looking really settled. You could very well assume now that this could be the team that Pakistan start their World Cup campaign with, but for injuries or a sudden drop of form. Form is an interesting one though, as we look at Fakhar Zaman, Imamul Haq, who came into this Asia Cup with some good runs, with some good numbers behind them. Fakhar, I think, at 300s on the trot. India Urooj against New Zealand, no other changes, so pretty much a settled team. But as we look at Fakhar Zaman, I think the scores are in the early 10s and 20s, and whether you've noticed anything of why Fakhar Zaman's just gone off the boil?
Again, I think Pakistan rely heavily on Fakhar to give them the bit of a sort of a fiery start up front and make use of that power play. And sometimes I think he can go around pushing with his bat too much. He anyways doesn't have a lot of quality foot movement, if I may say. He's got limited feet movement, but his hand-eye coordination is what gets him through. Sometimes when he's under pressure, according to his own numbers and the team's requirement of getting him off to a bit of a quicker start, because Imam does like to play himself in. So I think that's why he's just trying too hard. Again, I don't think Pakistan need to jump on the panic button at all. Those are the numbers that you're seeing. Just the last 7 innings, probably. I mean, he wouldn't want to see those numbers.
That's quite a contrast in 2023, isn't it? Starting at 113 and now last 7 it's dropped to 20 and less.
Exactly, his table turned completely. But I just feel, I mean, we don't need to panic way too much at the moment. He is probably Imam and Fakhar are the best opening combination we've had for a while now. I think he just needs to probably allow himself a little bit of time, because he's got the firepower and the shots to make up for any lost time. And it is an important game, let's not forget. So I think, and it'll take him one good innings to get back into form. So I don't think Pakistan need to jump on the panic button just yet.
I mean, if you're an opening batter, which you are, if you're a coach, which you also are you going to be showing those numbers to Fakhar Zaman and saying, "Kya chal raha hai? What happened to your form?"
No, I don't think so. I really like him. He plays some decisive knocks. So you know, I won't look into much into those numbers. He'll come good. You know, he's playing on good wickets. Like Urooj says, I completely agree that he needs to give himself a little bit of time. I think against Nepal, he tried to go after the bowling from the get-go. The bowlers that he might not have played before. So sometimes that can be a downfall. So he knows all these bowlers. He knows this Gaddafi Stadium like the back of his hand. So you know, he'll come good. He's a quality player, and Imamul Haq as well. You know, I like him the way he constructs his inning. So not to worry, I would say.
All right, fair enough. Now Mushfiq doesn't cash in on perhaps conditions in Pakistan. Imamul Haq, if you're making a fantasy team and you still have some time, there's a good reason why you should have him in, and maybe as captain too. Two things work in favor of Imamul Haq: the opposition and the ground. Small sample size, but those are numbers you want. 91.5 against Bangladesh, just the 2 innings, but he's already got 100 against them. And at Lahore, an average of 149. Good money on Imamul Haq getting runs today, Urooj?
Those are ridiculously good numbers. Sorry for the extravagant, ridiculous word of the use, ridiculous. But look at those numbers. Those are numbers. And again, in an all in Test cricket as well, and in one day cricket, he loves his ground. Absolutely loves the ground. And what he does really well is that he gives himself a little bit of time and he plays proper cricketing shots. So he's never sort of trying to force the ball and he's not trying to go away from his technique. The one thing that I am looking forward to, because he likes to play spin and he likes to use his feet. So I'm really looking forward to that challenge come the second half of how he tackles the Bangladesh spinners because he does like to go after them. So I think if Bangladesh set up a good score, Imam and Fakhar up front, will have an opportunity to get some form and get some big runs.
See, now that is just ridiculously good analysis. You don't worry about that. That is damn good. This ground that we speak of, that Imam ul Haq loves, and it is one of the great cricketing grounds of the world, the Gaddafi Stadium. It will bow out of hosting the Asia Cup after this one. It's seen a World Cup final among many iconic clashes. We thought we'd just revisit and go down memory lane to just tell you some of the highlights of this great stadium in Lahore. Let's have a look. All right, the Gaddafi Stadium, some of those innings in games you remember, iconic ones. Fun memories, Urooj? Anyone in particular that stands out for you from this ground?
I think the Inzamam test knock, I think that was quite sensational to watch. I think he's obviously one of the stalwarts of Pakistan cricket, but I think he's somebody who carried that middle phase where Pakistan was chopping and changing around with players, and him, Yunus and Misbah, I think, but his innings for me.
Wasim, Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore.
Well, I haven't played there, but I was part of the test team in 2006, I think. And I remember Pakistan batted first and got 650 plus. It was one of those roads as well. And Yunus got 100, Yusuf got 100, and Afridi, I think, hit Harbhajan for 4 consecutive sixes.
Yeah, that's
I remember
the game,
I went onto the field as a substitute fielder, and everything was flying past the fielders. And then Sehwag came into bat.
Yeah.
And Sehwag got 254 in, I think, 230 or something balls.
Yeah.
And the game was stop and start. I remember, it was raining in Lahore and it was cold, and he would go out for half an hour, hit 7-8 fours, come back singing in the dressing room, and then go back again, hit 7-8 fours again. It was carnage, and Shoaib Akhtar was bowling fast in that game. I remember him, Sami, Rana Naveed, Danish Kaneria, Shoaib Malik, and he batted like a dream. I think both him and Rahul Dravid got 400 plus partnership. I remember that game. So that's a very vivid memory. Other than that, 96 final I watched, obviously, the Arvinda knock. So
yeah, absolutely. It was a great game that. Yeah, Sehwag, of course, one of India's all-time greats at the top of the order. Let's go back to this game though. Pakistan-Bangladesh in just under 9 minutes time. That will kick off. Shaheen Shah Afridi will have a job to do with ball, and while we are having some fun looking at memories from the Lahore Stadium, let's also have some fun with Shaheen Shah Afridi. We caught up with him in our most popular segment. Let's see how he dealt under the pressure of ESPN Cricinfo's 25 questions.
3 ऐसे बैट्समैन जो आप हैट्रिक बनाना चाहेंगे?
रोहित, केएल राहुल और विराट कोहली।
अब तक की आपकी प्राइज विकेट?
विराट कोहली।
100 मीटर रेस हो हसन, रिजवान और हारिस में कौन जीतेगा?
हारिस और हसन में से, बट हसन शायद जीते।
अगर आपकी मूवी बने तो कौन सा एक्टर आपका रोल प्ले करना चाहेगा?
फरीजात वाला अली अकबर।
कोई ऐसा रिकॉर्ड जो अपने करियर के एंड पे आप चाहेंगे कि मेरे पास हो?
तीनों फॉर्मेट में नंबर 1।
हु इज द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट बैटर जिसको आपने अब तक बॉल किया हो?
पाकिस्तान के मोहम्मद रिजवान और बाबर आजम।
विच क्रिकेटर हैज द बेस्ट हेयर स्टाइल इन पाकिस्तान टीम?
हसन काफ़ी अच्छे बनाता है, तो हसन अली।
जिम में जो वर्कआउट करते हैं सबसे मोस्ट बोरिंग ड्रिल है वो क्या है?
सारी बोरिंग है।
आपकी टीम में पाकिस्तान की पुशअप एक टाइम में सबसे ज़्यादा कौन कर सकता है?
मोहम्मद रिजवान।
सेल्फी गेम अगर हो ड्रेसिंग रूम में सबसे अच्छी सेल्फी कौन लेता है?
आजकल तो मुझसे ही ले रहे हैं कि सेल्फी लो, तो मैं ही करता हूँ।
फेवरेट ग्राउंड जहाँ पे आप बॉल करना चाहेंगे?
लॉर्ड्स।
कोई ऐसा निकनेम जो आपको आपके ड्रेसिंग रूम में दिया हो?
शीनू बुलाते हैं और लाला बुलाते
हु हैज द बेटर सेलिब्रेशन, आपकी या हसन अली की?
हैं। हसन अली की।
होटल में आपको बंद कर दिया जाए एक कमरे में, किसके साथ बंद होना चाहेंगे? बर्दाश्त क्यों कर सकते हैं?
हारिस को कर सकता हूँ, उसको अगर कुछ कह भी दूँ तो कुछ कहता नहीं है। उसके साथ टाइम अच्छा स्पेंड होता है मेरा।
मोबाइल में सबसे ज़्यादा ऐप्स जो यूज़ करते हैं वो कौन सी यूज़ करते हैं?
मैं गेम खेलता हूँ सब पे।
वसीम या वकार बोले?
दोनों।
एक ऐसा बोले जिसको आप आइडलाइज करते रहो शुरू से लेकर अब तक?
इमरान खान, प्राइम मिनिस्टर।
Very good that from Shaheen Afridi. I quite enjoyed that. Wasim seems like such a simple, yet fun character and quite quick, sharp with his responses.
Yeah, he looked a very honest and straightforward guy. He just said Imran Khan Prime Minister. He's not their Prime Minister yet.
Yeah. You spent some time with him, haven't you, Urooj? I'm sure you've had some interactions with him. Very likable character, isn't he, Shaheen Afridi?
And most of these, youngsters they've come into the team, they like to enjoy themselves. And the best thing is, they always have a smile on their face. They get along, they love what they're doing. And some of them are real characters. Him, not so much, some others are.
Yeah, he seems pretty simple, does Shaheen Afridi. Right, we're also expecting a Pakistan World Cup squad announcement at some point today. All the teams are announcing the squads. India did yesterday. Let me just have a quick chat with Urooj on that. What are we expecting? Any changes from this Asia Cup squad? Is this pretty much what we're expecting Pakistan to go with for the World Cup next month, Urooj?
Yeah, I think it'll be a case of obviously between Mohammad Wasim Jr. and Fahim Ashraf. Looks like if Pakistan's picked Fahim Ashraf today, he will make that cut. And I think they'll probably leave the other leg spinner Osama Mir behind in order to curtail to that 15. I think Saud Shakil will continue to go for that middle order, but I think those two will probably miss out.
Yeah, I mean, we thought maybe there was a case for Mohammad Wasim Jr. to get a game today in place of Fahim Ashraf, or whether they'd even get him in, or for Mohammad Nawaz. Fahim Ashraf is in now. But if we just look at his record since 2021, this guy can crank up some pace, and we've seen that in the past for Wasim Jr. Whether or not Pakistan want these many pacers for a World Cup in India, it's a call India had also have to make, and they decided to leave out Prasidh Krishna from their Asia Cup squad. I mean, the key number is not even on this, which is how quickly this guy can bowl, and he's on song, Wasim. But is there a case perhaps of an extra pacer?
I mean, out of those two, Fahim Ashraf and Mohammad Wasim, I'd probably pick Fahim Ashraf. I think he's a better all-rounder. I mean, the guy who I really like, to be honest, in case one of the injuries to the fast bowlers is Ihsanullah, even though he's not around. But whatever I've seen of him in the PSL or the games that he's played, he looked a proper promising player. He's the next guy in. So even though he won't be in the World Cup squad, but he's the pace bowler you need to look to.
Yep, yeah, all right. As we just look at how hard it is to get into Pakistan's frontline pace attack, it's because of how good these guys have been. Just look at them one by one at the Asia Cup. Haris, Naseem and Shaheen Afridi, and India got a serious taste of it in that innings. They managed to go without any rain interruptions. Shaheen Afridi is averaging 10.5, Haris Shah 14.8, Naseem Shah 13.3. So they're bowling well in sync. But I guess, Urooj, one of the things we'd like to see from a Pakistan point of view is how Babar Azam uses them, especially when they're on song. That was something we brought under the scan in the game against India. That's something you'd like to see with a little more, perhaps, incisiveness or sharpness today?
Yeah, I think Babar has, in all fairness to him, he does have one hand tied behind his back because of the ineffectiveness in comparison to these three of your other bowlers that you have, primarily Shadab and Nawaz. And I think if Fahim can sort of put one foot in that position and provide that middle order stability. And I think it'll be more of a holding role and try not to give away too many runs, because the wicket taking ability lies with these three. So I think that's where if Fahim can, sort of provide the holding role as well as maybe try and dent it with a wicket or two. And let's not forget, Shadab, I thought was really poor with the ball. Being very candid here, I think if he pull up his socks and land the ball better, then it becomes a very formidable, complete bowling attack for Pakistan. But those numbers again, ridiculously good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's not overdo it now. Come on. But yeah, Shadab Khan is a good point that Urooj brings up. We have not seen the best of Shadab Khan, have we, Wasim?
No, we haven't. Obviously, he's only bowled twice, even though don't forget he got 4 in the first game, even though it was against Nepal. But yeah, against India, I thought, Ishan Kishan played him really well, and so did Hardik Pandya, but he did bowl some loose balls there. At the start of their partnership, he gave them, few full tosses to get them away. So he'll have to, pull up his socks. He is a quality performer, so he'll come good though. I mean, he's a quality performer.
Yeah, but it's the small areas that they need to still fix. Right, players on the ground, game almost underway. Let's get a first innings score and a prediction from Urooj. Mumtaz first up. Surely somewhere near 300, given how much you've spoken about this road, Urooj.
Well, I'll probably just tip the scale towards Pakistan bowling. I'll go with 272.
Oh, 272, very precise. Wasim Jaffer, you also like precise numbers.
Yeah, I'll go around 280, something in close to 280.
That's fair. You guys aren't giving Bangladesh much of a chance. That should be easily chaseable, 270, 280.
Because of the Pakistan bowling, obviously.
Okay, chal, I'm convinced. So I'm going to say Bangladesh 220 or something, and let's go home fast. No, no, that's not going to happen. We're going to get a good game because the stakes are high now. Big thank you to Urooj, Mumtaz and Wasim Jaffer. This is the Super Fours of the Asia Cup. And we're hoping for Bangladesh, the best of Bangladesh, like we saw against Afghanistan, to be back in action. We're also expecting Pakistan to be favourites in this game at home. They'd like to give their home crowd a nice way to send them off as the Super Fours move to Colombo after this. I think they move to Colombo, unless that's still not confirmed. But we'll come back to that conversation at the end of the Bangladesh innings. Join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena Presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by JBL. And if you haven't downloaded the mobile app, do so right away. We'll see you at the end of the first innings.
Stunning looks, then swift.
Make sure you download the ESPN Cricket Info app to stay updated with the very latest from the world of cricket.